Good morning, everyone. I'm showing a time of 9 o'clock. I would like to call the Lake County Planning Commission meeting for April 28th, 2022 to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you forget the word? The first thing we will take up is consideration of the adoption of Assembly Bill 361, findings authorizing teleconference meeting during a state of emergency. We did touch on this at our last meeting, and we are going to come to an agreement today, right?
The Assembly Bill requires that the findings be made or renewed every 30 days. In doing so, your commission is to consider the current state of the emergency and what actions are necessary in order for you to take in order for your commission to continue its business, and whether or not remote attendance is one of those actions that's necessary. And then you would make findings related to that and adopt whatever action your commission has determined is necessary to be safe during the emergency and continue the business of the commission.
Thank you for the clarification. Commissioners, do you feel that what we have currently in place is something that we would like to keep doing, or if we need to discuss further?
I'm a big proponent of it being as inclusive as we can. And because people who have tested positive or who are at risk are putting themselves further at risk by being present, I think that, and others at risk, I think that we should continue the way we've been conducting it. That's my opinion.
Commissioners, if I may, Madam Chair, this is not to determine whether or not the public attends remotely. The public will continue to attend remotely. This simply addresses whether or not your commission will be allowed, you as commissioners will be allowed to conduct your business remotely, and under what rules you'll be conducting remote business. So if there is an emergency requiring that commissioners attend remotely, say, for example, at the beginning of COVID, there were commissioners who had been exposed, who had been traveling, who were at risk, a number of reasons, they would have had good reason to attend remotely. If you do not make the findings today, or you find that there is not an emergency requiring that kind of remote attendance would still be an option under the Brown Act rules. You would just need to meet the Brown Act rule requirements, which include noticing the location from which you're remotely attending, providing access to the public to that location, and providing a way for the public to participate, both listening and speaking at that location for the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. I can't.
I move to keep the same protocol for planning commissioners to continue attending in person.
And keep the right to attend remotely in place?
Yes.
Second.
Madam Chair, just to clarify, is your commission adopting the same findings
Correct.
as the prior, as I provided by staff and from the prior meeting?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next thing we will take up is approval on the minutes from the April 14th, 2022 Planning Commission hearing.
I would like to move for the approval of the April 14th minutes.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Could we have all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Please note that I'm abstaining. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. I do believe you were absent for that. Thank you. Motion carries for the approval of the minutes. Before we pick up our 9:05 item, I would like to open up the chambers in the Zoom room for any citizens' input. This would be anything you guys would wish to discuss that is not on the current agenda. I'm not seeing any hands in chambers. Jake, do we have any hands in the Zoom room for citizens' input?
No, at this time, there are no hands raised in the Zoom room.
Thank you. Showing a time now of 9:05, we will take up our first timed item. This item was continued, This is a public hearing on consideration of major use permit UP 20-90 and a mitigated negative declaration IS 20-109. The applicant, Cresta Properties LLC Development, is proposing 3 A-type 1C specialty cottage licenses and 2 A-type 3B mixed licenses for commercial cannabis cultivation. The total cannabis canopy area proposed is 41,500 square feet and 72,000 square feet of cultivation area. The project includes 24 35 by 100 greenhouses, 35 by 100 foot greenhouses and 4 30 by 120 feet metal storage barns. The project is located at 6267 Kelsey Creek Drive and 6245 Gold Dust Drive, Kelseyville, California, and further described as APNs 007-013-23 and 007-013-22.
And legal notice has been deemed proper on this agenda item.
Thank you for that, Jim. And it is noted here that this item has been, there's a request for continuance.
I would move that we continue this item to May 12th, 2022.
I second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second for continuance to date of May 12th, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And until we take up our 9:10 scheduled item, it'll be just a few minutes.
For May 12th. Should we correct that? Okay. Madam Chair, on this particular item, the one we just continued, Jim mentioned in his opening that the legal was deemed correct, but it would not have been deemed correct because it was not advertised correctly.
And is that the actual reason for the continuance?
Yes, the scope of the square footage of the property was not correct in the legal advertising.
Okay, well, that makes sense as to why we were continuing it. I wasn't quite, there wasn't any explanation as to why we were continuing it. I appreciate the clarification.
No worries, thank you.
We can discuss the item number 2 when we reach the time for item number 2.
We will now bring up our 9:10 scheduled item. This was continued from June 10th, 2021. It's a public hearing on consideration of major use permit UP 20-86 and mitigated negative declaration IS 20-102. The applicant, Ursa Valley LLC, is requesting 12 A-type 3 outdoor licenses for commercial cannabis cultivation. The total canopy/cultivation area proposed is 522,720 square feet. The project includes one 120-square-foot security shed and one 160-square-foot chemical storage shed. The project is located at 10960, 10950, 10934, and 10930 Bachelor Valley Road, Witter Springs, California, and further described as APNs 002-046-09, 002-046-15, 002-046-16, and 002-046-17. And this item has also been requested for continuance for a date uncertain.
That is correct. The applicant was not properly notified of the public hearing, and also the applicant had a family business matter to attend and could not attend this meeting today.
I move to continue item number 2 to a date uncertain.
Second.
Motion of continuance for a date uncertain has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the continuance. And we have 3 minutes before we take up our third timed item.
So, may I ask for clarification?
You can approach the mic just so that we can all hear you.
Just asking.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yes, sorry.
Is this just a general question?
Yes, just a general question.
Can you please state your first and last?
My name is Patricia Rates. I live at 10820 Bachelor Valley Road, adjoining this property. So until we get notification again, then we don't have, we just wait until we get notification before we come back again. Is that correct?
That is my understanding, yes. Since the proper notification was not sent out not only to the applicant, but maybe the surrounding areas as well.
So it is my understanding that the notification was sent out to the surrounding property owners, but the applicant himself was not on the mailing list.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please, Nicole.
as far as notice goes with continuances, in this instance, typically with continuances to a date certain, notice is not required to be regiven. Continuances to a date uncertain, notice must be regiven as if it were a new item. However, in this instance, notice was ineffective the first time around for both item number 1 and item number 2, so they will both need to be renoticed. So yes, the public should receive, the neighbors, whomever should have received notice the first time around, should also receive notice again.
Thank you for the clarification. I hope that answers your question. If you have a question, you can approach the podium. Please just be sure to state your first and last name for us, please.
Marilyn Creighton,
Good morning.
and I also border the farm in question. But my question is, there's a large pot farm right on the other side of my fence, and we've never had any notification about that. So what dictates why one farm has to go through all this and the other farm does not? I have no idea. All I know is they have all these semi-trucks and stuff.
I understand. So we just have to stay on what we are actually
Of course,
discussing.
turn a blind eye.
No, sure.
Just
But this would have been something that you might have, thought about bringing up during citizens' input, that way that it's.
when was that?
In the very beginning of the meeting when I said, does anybody wish to
No,
speak on
you guys
anything?
just carry on.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Ma'am? You might want to stay for a second. Madam Chair?
Please.
Public members can request for notice on particular projects, and they can go to the Community Development Department to put in that request so
This
that
is right at my back fence.
you can certainly, there are foot distance requirements for notice under the code. And if your property is outside of that distance, then you would not receive notice, even if in your mind you may be close to that particular
It's a wire
property.
fence, so I don't know how close I have to be.
I don't know the particulars for distance in that individual farm. However, you can go to the Community Development Department, public can go to the Community Development Department and
No,
request for
That's all
notice.
up to you guys that make these decisions.
Okay, we are moving on to item number 3 for 9:15. It's a public hearing on consideration of major use permit UP 19-42 and mitigated negative declaration 19-61. The applicant, Bottle Rock Farms FJA Trust, is proposing 2 acres of medicinal commercial cannabis canopy area and 2 acres of adult use commercial cannabis canopy for a total of 4 acres of outdoor canopy area. The project includes one 4,750 square foot processing building and a 1,000 square foot immature plant area. The project is located at 9900 and 10030 Bottle Rock Road, Kelseyville, California, and further described as APNs 011-057-22 and 011-057-23.
Madam Chair, we have Kim Hunter from Lakeport Consultants that will be here making the presentation. And also, can we check to see if Andrew Amalong is online?
And legal notice has been deemed proper on this agenda item.
Thank you, Jim. Jake, are you able to confirm Director Darby's request for the other person on Zoom?
I'm sorry, what was the name?
Andrew Amalong.
Andrew Amalong?
Yes. I'm going to promote Andrew to panelists so that they can control their mic.
And we're also looking for the PowerPoint presentation.
From Andrew.
Okay, and I do believe Andrew is going to have the PowerPoint presentation, so if he can have the authority to share his screen as well. And Kim, just be sure to speak into your mic, please. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning. How are you?
We are well.
It's good.
So will the PowerPoint be being shared? Well, does Andrew have it, or does do we have it in the chambers?
I believe you have it in the chambers.
Oh, we will look into that real quick, just to make sure that we have it here. Yeah. Bottle Rock Farms. What's it called? Bottle Rock, it's the second item. good job. Yep, right there. Excellent. Thank you for your help, Sam. Excellent.
Oops, sorry about that. Good morning. Okay.
Morning.
I'll be presenting this project today. My name is Kim Hunter, and as Director Darby introduced me, I am with Lako and Associates. The project today is a major use permit for Bottle Rock Farms FJA Trust. Use permit number 19-42, initial study 19-61, and early activation 2121. I do believe that early activation also was issued in 2019, so there was 2 years of cultivation on the site. Our agenda today is to go over to the permit request, the project scope, site description, the project analysis, and the recommendations and conditions for the project. Before going any farther, I do want to note that there was a hydrology analysis and drought management plan submitted. It wasn't listed as an attachment in your staff report, but you should have received that. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. The address for the project is 9900 and 10030 Ball Rock Road in the Kelseyville area. Parcel number 011-057-022 and 023. The applicant and the property owner are both Bottle Rock Farms FJA Trust. The application request is for commercial cannabis cultivation for 4 adult type 3 outdoor licenses. The project includes 4 acres outdoor canopy with 6 acres of cultivation support area. These areas are split between 2 parcels. The north parcel is 45.6 acres. The second parcel, the southern parcel, is 47.7 acres. The submittal date for the application was November 5th, 2019, and early activation did occur. Here's a picture of the zoning map. As you can see, in general, the lands surrounding the parcel are rural lands, and there is a parcel to the south that is open space, and then an area to the south, the corner, that is timberline preserve zone. Every county kind of calls it something different, production or preserve, but it's TPZ to the southeast there. The parcels and project area are located in Supervisor District 5, approximately 4 miles southeast of Kelseyville as the crow flies. It's a ways up Bottle Rock Road to get to the site, definitely. And the site falls within the Kelseyville planning area. The project scope includes, on the north parcel, 87,120 square feet of fenced outdoor canopy with 93,000 square feet of support area. There's an existing well on the north parcel that will serve both sites. A compost pile and waste area will also be included on this parcel, employee parking areas with 1 ADA space, 3,000 square foot temporary structures for immature plants. In addition, on the northern parcel, there'll be the fenced-in canopy. Excuse me, like I missed a slide there. Oh, interesting. There is also a processing building included on the north parcel. And I'm not seeing that, so I'm going to make sure we cover that because that processing building is there. I cannot recall off the top of my head the size of it, but it's a sizable building.
It's 4,750.
Thank you.
Square
Yes, I was going to say that. Sounds great. Yes. Okay, in addition, there'll be a water tank as well located on that site for fire protection services. I believe it was a 5,000-gallon water tank. Apologize, I'm not sure where that slide went.
I'm showing here on the staff report that it's a 3,000-gallon fire suppression water tank.
Okay. And this is on the southern parcel. So it says north parcel on the slide. We're moving to the southern parcel now. And so those 6 5,000-gallon water storage tanks are on the lower parcel. Sorry about the confusion. Yes, not the north. Okay, it also includes 87,120 square foot fenced outdoor canopy with 92,500 square feet of support area, also a compost pile and waste area, a storm-proof shed for equipment and fertilizers, pesticides, items needed for cultivation, an employee parking area, and ADA accessible portable toilets. Okay, south parcel. In addition, on the south parcel, a portable solar generator, 2 2,400 square foot plus temporary structures for cannabis drying and curing, a 160 square foot harvest storage area, existing septic system for use, and groundwater well. And not sure what's going on here. The groundwater well is on the north parcel. Again, please disregard that. There's only one well on the property. It's on the north. In 2019, a less than 3 acre conversion was actually conversions were completed on each of the parcels. Not knowing how familiar you are with the less than 3 acre conversion process, I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that. In a nutshell, the conversion process is a process established by state law under CAL FIRE Board of Forestry and is needed for any type of clearance on timber stands. And a registered professional forester must complete the plan and submit it to the Board of Forestry. It's a maximum of 3 acres. This is something you would need to do if you wanted to build a home or anything that's not related to timber production on these lands. And if you're, say, an example, want to build a residence on your property, you have a one-time opportunity to do a clearing up to 3 acres for that area for non-timber production use. And it could be a residence, it can be a cannabis cultivation, any type of activity allowed by the zoning would require a conversion process. And many counties, and it's undetermined, I wasn't able to clarify if Lake County has done this, but around 2015, maybe earlier, CAL FIRE Board of Forestry reached out to counties and gave them the authorization to designate by resolution, board resolution, a staff member or a department, planning director, whoever, to review less than 3 acre conversions for zoning clearance and to make sure what was being proposed was in compliance with local ordinances and regulations. I'm unclear if that has happened in Lake County. I apologize coming to the meeting and not knowing that. County Council may know a little bit more about that possibly, but I'm not sure if that occurred. When we reviewed the form, it was not signed off by the county. So in that case, CAL FIRE would not have sent the application for county review. And I'm not sure how many projects occur in timberland areas so far in Lake County either. So obviously you want the project, the clearing to be in concurrence with your zoning regulations. So a 3-acre area was cleared on each of the parcels. And this occurred again in 2019. Okay, here's a picture of one of the cleared areas. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if it's the north or south parcel. The cultivation sites are relatively flat. They have a 3 to 4% grade, although the parcels overall, there's quite a bit of slope to them. But the project sites where the cultivation work will occur is fairly flat. Elevation ranges from 2,210 feet above sea level to 2,655 feet above sea level. The site is located geographically along Camelback Ridge within the Kelsey Creek watershed. There is an unnamed Class II tributary that flows through the middle of the property to Coal Creek. The setbacks are met. The cultivation sites are not near that riparian area, and like I said, meet the setbacks. Access is from Bottle Rock Road. There is an internal access to both parcels, in Nancy Lane, which appears to be a graveled private road. And the project meets all, all applicable required setbacks. Okay, that moves us into project analysis. Regulations reviewed for compliance include Lake County General Plan, Shorelines, Kelseyville Area Plan, Lake County Zoning Ordinance, and state regulations. With the Rural Lands General Plan designation, there's no conflicting policies with the general plan. No specific policies addressed the commercial cannabis cultivation in the general plan at this time. Okay, Kelseyville Area Plan. The project proposal meets several policies that are established by the Kelseyville Area Plan. Those include 3.3B, 3.5F, 3.9A, 4.1H, 5.35A, and 5.35D, which deal with a variety of subjects, including water conservation and fire protection. The project incorporates and includes policies within the project proposal and project properties management plan regarding water conservation, security measures, cultural resources, and fire protection in compliance with the Kelseyville Area Plan. For the Lake County Zoning Ordinance, the zoning sections reviewed for the project included Article 27, Article 7, Article 30, and Article 34. The project is in compliance with the Scenic Combining District. And if we have any questions on that, I see Andrew up there. He has more information on that if there's any questions. But it does meet the requirements with the major use permit as is in compliance with the Scenic Combining District.
Yes, to follow up on that, the Scenic Combining District is on the western portion of both parcels, whereas the cultivation areas are outside of the Scenic Combining District on the eastern side of the properties.
Thank you. For the project analysis, the California Environmental Quality Act, a mitigating negative declaration is proposed for this project. All identified impacts can be mitigated and reduced to a less than significant level. The project was circulated for comment period, the project being the initial study and the mitigated negative declaration. That period was May 3rd, 2021 to June 4th, 2021. Mitigations are outlined in the staff report attachments 5 and 6, which include the initial study and the Mitigation Monitoring Reporting Program known as the MMRP. Resources that were found to require mitigation included aesthetics, air quality, biological resources, cultural resources and tribal cultural resources, geology and soils, hydrology, water quality, hazards and hazardous materials, and noise. Okay, wonder if we can move Andrew a little higher up there. Okay. So, we're going to focus on biological measures for a few minutes. There are 3 biological mitigation measures that were proposed and included in the circulated initial study. During our review, we noticed there were some problems with these, or some concerns. Before we go into those concerns, I do want to clarify that project description, the biological assessment, and the property management plan do not propose additional expansion of the project area. The concern is that mitigation measures Bio 1, Bio 2, Bio 3 are unnecessary and could be misleading. That expansion will be occurring. Mitigation measures may be revised or substituted or deleted, which in most cases will not require circulation as long as the measures are more effective. We'll be going over some examples of revised mitigation measures for Bio 1, Bio 2, and Bio 3. They provided for your consideration. However, this is a beginning, a start, an idea that can be further revised, and a recommended consideration of an additional mitigation measure, so there's no questions left unanswered, and that would be Bio 5 for clarification. I wanted to provide some information so it's clear how CEQA works when we get to this type of situation. This is an excerpt from the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, the Technical Advisory Series that was done in 2004. It is a nice summary of the situation we may be in today with looking at revising these mitigation measures. And I'll just give you a minute to look at that. The underlining is for emphasis, and I will go ahead and just read that first paragraph. If the lead agency concludes prior to the approval of a project that one or more of the mitigation measures identified in the MND are infeasible or otherwise undesirable, Public Resources Code Section 21080F provides that the lead agency may delete those measures and substitute other equivalent or better measures without having to recirculate the MND for review. The lead agency must, 1, hold a public hearing on the matter before substituting new mitigation measures, 2, impose the new measures as a condition of project approval or otherwise make them as part of the project approval, and 3, find that the new measures will effectively reduce potentially significant effects to a less than significant level and will not cause any potentially significant effects on their own. Okay, so this is Bio Measure 1. If the establishment of cultivation operation requires the destruction of closed cone pine forest habitat, a pre-construction survey for a special status species should be performed by a qualified biologist to ensure that special status species are not present. If any listed species or special status species are detected, construction should be delayed, and appropriate wildlife agency, CDFW, or U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service should be consulted and project impacts and mitigation reassessed. That was what was circulated. A revised version of that mitigation measure reads, if the establishment of cultivation operations requires the destruction of closed cone pine forest habitat, A pre-construction survey for special status species shall be performed by a qualified biologist to ensure that special status species are not present prior to any ground disturbing activity. The applicant shall notify the appropriate wildlife agency, CDFW and/or U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the lead agency, Lake County Planning Department. Additional project impacts shall be reviewed in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act.
So do I understand that the main difference here is instead of should, it's shall be?
That's a big one. Yes. And the circulated measure also basically says your construction may be delayed and you should or can consult a biologist. That's not ideal mitigation language.
Okay, thank you very much. So did these occur? Did these surveys occur?
A biological assessment did occur in 2019. It occurred after the 3-acre conversion was completed. And that's another very good point is we just went over less than 3-acre conversions. And so in some cases, these are connected in the way that the clearance that's occurred is the maximum clearance that can occur on each parcel through the conversion process. So, it leaves the question if these are even necessary. And for some reason, my clicker's not working anymore. We're doing so well so far.
It's moving. I
Yeah,
can see it.
the mouse is moving, but it's not. Oh, whoa, okay. There we go. Okay, bio measure number 2. It's similar wording to bio 1. If construction activities require the removal of trees or shrubs or disturbance of the riparian habitat, which should never occur, side note, and if these activities occur during the nesting season, usually March to September, a pre-constructed survey for the presence of special status bird species or any nesting bird species should be conducted by a qualified biologist within 500 feet of proposed construction areas. If active nests are identified in these areas, CDFW and/or U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service should be consulted to develop measures to avoid active nests prior to initiation of any construction activities. Avoidance measures may include the establishment of a buffer zone using construction fencing or postponement of vegetation removal until after the nesting season or until after a qualified biologist has determined the young have fledged and are independent of the nest site. A revised mitigation measure could read, if construction activities require the removal of trees or shrubs or disturbance to the riparian habitat. It looks like the same language. I'm going to stop there. Basically, the revised is the circulated, but in the staff report, we should have a
Yes, so
mitigation measure.
My copy shows a
So sorry.
change to shall as.
It was changed to shall, and there should be language that no riparian activity should occur at all. That should be taken totally.
Yeah, that's correct. It says no
Good.
disturbance to riparian habitat shall occur.
Thank you. And it also added contacting the lead agency. Okay, thank you. Mitigation measure bio 3. If the establishment of cultivation operation requires the destruction of undisturbed closed-cone pine forest habitat, a botanical survey should be conducted to identify if any special status plant species are present and to delineate sensitive and non-sensitive plant habitat at a finer scale, which may reduce the overall area needed for protection. And a revised mitigation measure could be no removal of undisturbed closed cone of pine forest habitat shall occur unless a botanical survey has been conducted to identify if any special status plant species are present and to delineate sensitive and non-sensitive plant habitat at a finer scale. And consultation with the Fish and Wildlife, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the lead agency, Lake County Planning Department. Further expansion of the project area will require further review in accordance to the California Environmental Quality Act.
So quick question. I would support all these recommended changes, but is it not moot because this has already occurred, this destruction,
Clearance.
the clearance has already occurred?
Yes. That is definitely possible, and that, to provide alternatives for the planning commission, went ahead and typed some revisions up, but yes, that absolutely, they could be removed. And there could be.
Did those biological assessments come back with any data regarding the pine forests and the nests and everything? I mean, were there any relevant findings that would have prevented? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Did they actually go in and destroy the riparian areas and the?
No, they did not. No, and that's part of the 3-acre conversion process and the role of the professional forester to make sure there's no water bodies and to do what is needed ahead of time to make sure these are appropriate areas for conversion.
Okay, great, thank you.
Now, a full CEQA analysis is not done on a less than 3-acre conversion, but it comes back to the forester, the registered forester, to make sure the sites are suitable.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Kim.
Sure.
Kim, with the 3-acre conversion process, would they would have to go, even though it goes to the Department of Forestry, would they have to have obtained a grading permit from the county?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because my records are showing that there was not a grading permit obtained.
And thank you, Director Darby. And also, to be clear, you don't have the signed off for the conversion from the CDFW?
Yes, and that's the sign-off for the less than 3-acre conversion application for code clearance from the county is only required if the county has by resolution, board resolution, designated one of the agencies in the county to do that review. I'm not sure that occurred.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
please.
if your commission finds that there is not enough information for you to be clear on whether or not there is a violation here, and just to clarify, the findings that you must make, one of them includes that there are no current existing violations. And if you are unable to make that finding today, you can certainly ask staff to return with information that would clarify that for you.
Thank you. Kim, if you want to continue with your presentation.
Yep, we're almost through these. Okay, so we'll get to recommendations. And when you're a planner and you're presenting a project, it's wonderful if you had a crystal ball, but we don't. So my original recommendation was to adopt the mitigated negative declaration. However, then there was recommendation number 2, which is unusual, but realizing there are concerns. And another concern that that just came to light last evening and this morning is that there's not a clear updated project description on those improvements that are existing and those that were proposed. That includes energy sources and looking at the project site over time. Many of the structures have been built under, I guess, early activation. So a septic system was proposed for the processing building. Has that been installed? We don't have that information. So furthermore, definitely at this point, as staff would recommend a continuance. Up until last night, I was going to recommend May 12th, but we might need a little bit more time to sort out some of this information, see if there was a grading permit. It was not included in the file, but at least confirm that information as county council spoke to.
I have some other concerns as well. I think it would probably be a
Let's,
good idea to finish the.
does this conclude your presentation? And then I'll bring it back, Commissioner Field, for discussion. we'll just let you kind of finish
Okay,
up.
do just one more slide really
Yeah,
quickly.
absolutely.
And this is the fantastic map that Andrew put together that we really enjoy these. It's great to have this visual. This is the general project vicinity, and I'll take a stab at it, but Andrew's there to answer any more questions.
Sure, I can go ahead and explain.
Perspective and existing projects. Sorry about that, Andrew. I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, that's fine. This project is located, excuse me, in the Big Valley Watershed. Sorry, please give me a moment. Actually, I'm getting over the flu. Kim, I might let you go ahead and take a stab at it, actually.
Okay,
So,
sorry about that.
okay.
Okay, he has a nice breakdown for us. And so that was, Andrew, just real quick, I know you can't talk very much, but we have the Big Valley Watershed here, and I'd previously mentioned the Kelsey Creek Watershed. Are these sub-watersheds?
The Kelsey Creek Watershed is part of the
Okay, thank
Big
you.
Valley Watershed.
Good. So it's a sub-watershed. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay, 32 approved projects, 1 denied project, and 35 pending projects.
So what does the yellow and green mean?
The green are approved projects and the yellow are pending projects.
Okay, thank you.
And to follow up, Kim, my voice is feeling a little bit better. We have approved 81.3 acres of canopy area within this watershed. And based on staff's rough estimates, approximately 142 acre feet of water per year would be used for these approved projects, not the pending projects. The project itself covers 4 acres of canopy, and based on staff's projections, not necessarily the hydrology report or their proposed water use, we are looking at roughly 6.63 acre feet of water per year. To really know this for sure, we would have to, in our annual inspections, collect data and confirm whether these projections are high or low. These are based on the estimates for outdoor cultivation, 6 gallons of water per plant per day for a 180-day growing season, at a density of about 500 plants per acre.
And that's about, 90 square feet per plant?
Roughly, yes. I believe so. Obviously, this varies. You can have, the size of the plant and the number of plants is, it's hard to gauge because a lot of cultivators, they might grow smaller plants, but many more smaller plants up in the hundreds and thousands, or you could have plants that are much larger but fewer in density, which I think these estimates are based on. That's why the overall water use is kind of essential to look at, whether they're large plants or small plants. It roughly translates to about 1 gallon of water per day would equate to 1 product of cannabis at cultivation.
So it sounds to me like we're going to have to collect that data from all this monitoring to really have a good idea how much water consumption.
Absolutely. I'm looking very much forward to doing that later in the cultivation season. So,
I had a couple questions while we're talking about water. I think the report showed just 1 well that stabilized at 9 gallons per minute. Mm-hmm. And my experience in agriculture is that is it's a small fraction of what would be needed for 4 acres of canopy. There's got to be something else going on here. So my question is, they're doing early activation. How much cannabis is under production now or was last year? And how much water was consumed?
In the past, staff had not necessarily been collecting all of the water data for early activation. It's been a process that they have been working on to basically, I guess, improve or, I guess, perfect, or even just essentially lay out the guidelines on it. When I showed up here last year, staff had not been at a point with their annual inspection procedures to collect that data. So that's why I am going to be focused on that this year.
Okay, and I hate to cut you off, Commissioner Field. Let's let you complete your presentation, and then I will bring it back to us for discussion and more questions.
That's the conclusion of the staff report.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed. I appreciate that, Kim. And Andrew, you're a huge help. I appreciate you too. Commissioner Field, did you have any further questions for discussion for staff?
Yeah, I just wanted.
Or things that they can look forward or look kind of further into for the requested continuance?
Yeah, I had a concern about the exemption for an ag barn that was on there. It's not in an ag zone, and this isn't agriculture, so why would that be?
A good question. I definitely look into that. I noticed that myself.
Okay. Any of the other commissioners have questions for, is the applicant here? Or do you guys want to just kind of, we can talk to staff? Oh, you are here.
Yeah, the two of us and our third partner is on the Zoom.
She's on Zoom. She's going to be answering most of the questions, but we.
Okay. Good to know. We do have the applicant in chambers and also someone on their behalf on Zoom. If any of the commissioners have questions that they would like to ask or clarify for staff to look further into, this would be the time to let them know what they can look further into.
I had one other issue. In the report, it showed the Big Valley Band of Pomo Indians had some concerns, and I didn't see those addressed. Did I miss it? And in the cultural resources section of the recommendations for COAs, it showed 3 cultural, what do you call them? The conditions of approval, but it lists, no, it was the hydrology, it lists 4, and there were only 3. So my only concern is, I'd like to hear from Big Valley Pomo whether they answered or not, because this fellow did write a letter and had some relevant concerns.
Okay. I do believe the consultation was closed and there was agreement, but we'll get verification of that.
Yeah, I think there was with the Middletown people.
Okay.
But specifically Big Valley Band of Pomo Indians. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the commissioners for staff or for the applicant before we open it up for public comment?
I just have one comment also regarding, it would be good in future to note that consultation did happen with any tribes that are engaged with the process. That helps in terms of knowing that there's ongoing conversation. I know we're not privy to that information, but it's good to know that it's happening.
Will do. We'll definitely include that.
Commissioner Chavez, anything to say before we open it up for public comment?
That, and also if there are any findings, if there are, I'm sure we get them in the report, but to be able to have a little bit more in depth if we do have consultations from a tribe, or conversations and consultations from them.
Some form of dialogue, right? So let's go ahead and open it up for public comment. And I do believe the applicant's here, and then we do have someone on the Zoom call.
Partner Jennifer.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning. I'm here on the Zoom.
Nice to see you. Do you have anything that you'd like to say? I mean, I do believe we're going to discuss continuing this item, but anything that you'd like to say for clarification or direction for, staff or the commission?
Absolutely. I wanted to go over a few things. The mitigations Bio 1, Bio 2, and Bio 3 will be moot. There will be no further clearing required for the project. There will be no destruction of trees or shrubs. And there will also be no removal of closed pine forest habitat for our project. Per CAL FIRE and our forester, we did not need to obtain a grading permit. Both of the conversions were finalized by CAL FIRE, and I did submit the final documents for both of those to Satir Ham, whom was our planner at the time that we submitted our application for this project. So they should be somewhere in the file If they're not, I can resubmit those as needed. There also has been no septic system installed for the proposed processing building. We've been waiting for our permit to go ahead and do that. We do have some plans drafted by an engineer, but nothing has been done for installation of that septic system. Also, I wanted to address water. Last year, we used an injection drip tape to water, which results in much less water use. Basically, the plants are on a drip system, utilizing a drip tape and not heavily watered like you would be doing in pots. And we use plastic over our rows, which also keeps the water in to the beds versus it evaporating out into the atmosphere. The well that we have, our 9-gallon per minute well, was sufficient for our water use. We don't cultivate large plants. They're actually all fairly small. So I did want to share that with you guys and then be able to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Jennifer. I do believe we are still going to discuss giving you more time to, clarify and verify what she had mentioned. Go ahead, Commissioner Field.
Yeah, I had a question about the drip tape. Is it subterranean?
It is subterranean.
Cool, thanks. And just a point, I'm not concerned about water evaporating from the ground. It's the evapotranspiration from the leaves that I think is really where it concerns me. Thank you, though.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I had a question for the whoever can answer it. Did you guys plant both parcels or both lots that were cleared through earth
Yes.
activation?
Yes, we did.
And you said that the well was sufficient enough for the because it's two sets of plants per. Because I believe in the report it said it was autoflowers.
We stopped.
Correct. We aren't going to be doing autoflowers going forward due to the crash in the cannabis market in general. We're just going to be doing a full-term planting going forward. I did reach out to Satir to make that change to our project description, but she said it was too late to make a change without having to send the project out for re-review. So I did want to let you guys know that we will be planting half of what we normally do annually as per the project description. So that's getting cut in half.
Okay.
Plant July 15th, so we have like.
If you, I don't mean to cut you off, but you can come and speak into the microphone.
I'll let her finish and then I'll come to.
Stage is yours, Jennifer.
So instead of planting in around May and then planting again in July, we will only be planting one time in July.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you want to come up and say anything?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Jen answered most of the questions.
All right. Any other hands by chance raised in the Zoom room since we still have public comment open, Jake?
Yes, we do have some hands raised in the Zoom room. First hand I have raised is from Donna Makowitz. Donna, I've given you permission to speak. Looks like you're unmuted. Please confirm your first and last name.
Good morning. It's Donna Mackwitz, and I'm a volunteer representative for Red Bud Audubon Society. And I really welcome the continuation and the attention to details. If you notice in field studies, the date that the on-ground field studies were done, it's in September. Well, and I'm also looking at the one later on. I have in front of me 4 different natural investigation field studies, and going through them, it's like 75% word for word, and all 4 of these submitted field studies are almost exactly the same. So when you're paying attention to details, please look at the total report. And that's just an observation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Jake, any other hands in the Zoom room?
Yes, we do have another hand in the Zoom room from Jennifer Smith. Jennifer, I've given you permission to unmute. All right, looks like you're muted. Please confirm your first and last name.
Jennifer Smith.
Thank you.
I understand that this is going to be continued, but
would just like to say that this is a really well-run project. They have cultivated in a manner that meets the resources that they have. They were proactive in getting a 3-acre conversion, which many projects don't know is required, and it becomes an afterthought. They've been proactive in working with the county on the changes, and they were prepared for the changes that have been thrown at them while they're in the queue. They did go out and get their hydrological report. I would encourage that this project, if you have time to go look at it, it's a beautiful project and one that we should be proud and happy to have in the county. And while I know we're not making a decision today, I do encourage further support for this project.
Thank you for your comment. Jake, any other hands in the Zoom room before we close public comment?
This time, there are no more hands in the Zoom room.
Okay, I do have someone in chambers that wishes to speak. Good morning. Please be sure to state your first and last name for me, please, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Karen Mantelli, and I read through the staff report, the initial study of the documents that were provided by the staff, and I noted, it was an isolated area. There's no archaeological problems. Seems to be outside, the farmland protection zones. No impacts to special districts. I looked at the well permit information and security plan, meets the ordinance and such, and as the previous speaker, I think that it seems like it might go to continuance, but I would wish that the commissioners would look to support this project when it does come back before you. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Feel free to approach the scary podium. And be sure to state your first and last name for me, please.
I'm Fred Friedland, one of the owners. I'd just like to say that we've gone above and beyond and actually helping clean up the road. We've removed probably 20 dump trailers of trash, old mattresses. There's 2 out of the 5 neighbors that love us. The other ones are very shady people, and the whole road has come up to us to say how good of a job we're doing. We're really trying to go above and beyond, met all the criteria, and I'd appreciate your support, and I know we're going to get a continuance, so thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Okay. Jake, one last time, is there any hands in the Zoom room?
No, there are still no hands raised in the Zoom room at this time.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and bring it back for a little bit of discussion through the commissioners and for staff. I do appreciate your attention to detail on the staff report. Also having the applicant on Zoom is very helpful. I think giving you enough time to verify and confirm our little missing notes is going to be good. Do you still feel like a continuance till the 12th is good, or did you want to give yourself a little bit more time?
A little bit more time.
Okay.
And what would that put us at June 9th?
Oh, the dreaded June 9th meeting. We have to discuss
the June 9th meeting.
that. So I think that, and then we have Memorial Day. We can, we'll just kind of give you for a date, we'll discuss it amongst us, but for a date uncertain, and then when you're feeling comfortable and have all of your information, we can discuss putting it on for another hearing date.
Just quickly, Nicole, if we continue it to
a date uncertain.
A date uncertain, does it have to be renoticed?
Yes. If you are continuing it to a date certain, that means everybody who received the original notice who wanted to attend has attended, and they will be here to hear that date to come back. If there is not a date given during this hearing, then there will need to be notice provided again to tell whomever is interested when the next hearing will be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other discussion amongst the commissioners about the continuing of this item and the date certain or uncertain? Looking for motion?
I would make a motion to a date uncertain if staff feels that's what they want. Mary? it would save the process if we could choose a date.
I believe we could choose a date today. I feel fairly confident we can follow up on the issues that need to be followed up on within a timely manner.
This is Director Darby. I'm in agreement with that we should determine a date, so maybe not June 9th, but the date after June 9th, which is June 23rd hearing.
Great, I so move. I move that we continue this item until the June 23rd Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to continue till June 23rd, 2022.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for a continuance for the June 23rd, 2022 Planning Commission hearing. Again, thank you for your presentation. Our last item is our discussion regarding the June 9th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting conflict. And hopefully we can come to some type of resolution on this today. Director Darby?
So the June 9th meeting is in direct conflict with our budget hearings, which will be held in this room on June 8th and June 9th. So my recommendation to the board is that we can adjourn the meeting on June 9th and follow up with the cases on June 23rd, if that is your desire.
Okay, and then just so that I'm clear, the adjournment, we would, there's nothing scheduled for that day. It would just kind of be noted that we're not holding a meeting that day. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. We can definitely, we can make a motion today to go ahead and confirm that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we're just looking for a motion.
I would like to move to adjourn the June 9th, or to adjourn June 9th meeting and continue on June 23rd.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, just as a point of clarification, it would not be a continuance. It is just simply an adjournment of the June 9th meeting, which means your commission will not be meeting. And then the next regularly scheduled meeting would be when you meet again.
Okay. So want me to re-say it?
All you need,
Second is
the
amended.
motion simply needs to say, we move to adjourn the June 9th meeting.
I would second as amended.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we have a motion and an amended motion and second. All in favor for adjournment of the June 9th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We will adjourn that meeting and meet here again on our regular scheduled meeting for June 23rd, 2022. And that concludes that. Director Darby or Nicole, do we have any untimed staff updates or office news?
Yes, we do have some office news. So I will be interviewing today for a deputy director.
Okay.
And I'm excited about that. We also will be interviewing for senior planner positions as well. So I think we have about 4 candidates that we'll be interviewing today. So that's exciting. We are looking at May 10th to present to the Board of Supervisors our revised cannabis ordinance. So that is still pending, but notification will be going out early May if we move forward with that. We are also proposing to have workshops on the revised cannabis ordinance on May 17th and 18th. Just double check my dates real quick. Yes, May 17th and 18th, the meetings or workshops will be held here in the council chambers from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m.
And is that for the public?
It's for the public.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay, so the workshops will be in event booth style. So staff will be here to review any portions of the ordinance with staff and have direct interaction with the public, and have direct interaction with the public one-on-one as they rotate around to various booths to explain the considerations and review of the ordinance, the proposed ordinance.
Excellent.
Okay.
That's nice to see everyone kind of coming together for some type of a resolution that way.
So I just wanted to add really quick, May 12th, I will not be attending. I have a work conflict. And also June 23rd, I have a work conflict, so I'll be missing those commission meetings, and wanted that to be known. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, if that concludes, brings us all up to date, then we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.